When it comes to my personal favorite directors, I don't have a top 10, top 5, or top 3, really. I just have one favorite director who inspires me every day, and then general favorites. We'll start with them. And bear in mind, these are in no particular order, except for, obviously, number 1. First, there's Edgar Wright, who did the Cornetto trilogy. He also was supposed to write and direct Ant-Man for Marvel, but that is no longer a thing, and I, for one, am heartbroken about that. Why I love Edgar Wright is that he knows how to make you laugh using visuals, camera movement, editing, and sound effects, not dialogue. His films aren't jam-packed with pop songs and generic montages that we see year after year in Redbox-worthy comedies. He takes a unique approach to every genre he explores, and as a result, even though I'm not personally interested in making comedies, I do want to make one every time I watch one of his films. Next up we have James Cameron, who I love because he is very ambitious and uses technology to its fullest to create whole worlds that audiences can immerse themselves in. He is the man responsible for the 2 highest grossing films of all time, as well as 2 of the greatest sequels of all time, and is currently moving toward production on 3 Avatar sequels at once. I don't know what your reaction to that is, but I find it very inspiring. I wish him, the cast, and crew all the luck in the world, because money aside, unless you have a burning passion for your story, you are screwed, plain and simple. Next we have Lena Dunham, who wrote, directed, and starred in one of the best independent films I've ever seen, Tiny Furniture. It is her second feature following creative nonfiction, which I have yet to watch, but I think she captured our mumblecore generation in Tiny Furniture perfectly. Her approach to shooting scenes is a lot like another director that I'll be mentioning later, and I think that she does a great job utilizing that style. The style being shooting whole scenes in one take with no cuts. If I hear she's making a new film, I'll be there, no question. Following her is Doug Liman, who just did Edge of Tomorrow. You may have heard of it. He is a favorite because his movies are always fun to watch. He knows how to shoot drama, action, and comedy, and he always gets the best out of his top-notch casts. He directed the Firstborn movie and then executive produced the 2 sequels. In my eyes, he is a very talented man, and I'm always excited to hear about his next project, be it director, producer, whatever he's doing. Next up is Chris Columbus, who was inspired to make movies after seeing The Godfather at age 15. He has directed, among other films, Mrs. Doubtfire, the first 2 Harry Potter films, and the first 2 Home Alones. All of them are personal favorites that helped define my childhood. He is a favorite because he knows how to make kids' movies that aren't boring and safe. They're ambitious, full of clever jokes, sometimes action-packed, and always true to who kids are. And I question if we would have gotten any more Harry Potter films without his leading efforts. I'm still trying to see the logic behind Mrs. Doubtfire 2, but I think I'll let the trailer speak for itself. Next we have Ryan Coogler, who has only directed 1 feature film so far, but it is one of the greatest directorial debuts I have ever seen. Fruitvale Station. I honest to goodness have never cried longer or harder in a film before in my life, and I was shocked to find that despite the storyline, I never once felt like he was forcing those emotions. Usually a filmmaker is prepping for that moment when a character dies, that tear-jerking moment when they get to the audience emotionally, but he didn't. He just told Oscar Grant's story, he was respectful, and as a result it was one of the most moving experiences of my life. And when his next film, Creed, is done, I'll be the first in line to buy a ticket. Mr. Gareth Evans, the mastermind behind The Raid, is next. He is the writer, director, and editor of both Raid movies, and they are 2 of the most insane action movies ever made, and I am among many fans who have been inspired as a result to make a fight scene look anywhere near as good. Unlike a lot of action directors, he shoots fight scenes so we can see everything. The choreography is visible, and there's no stunt double taking the hit for the pretty actor off-screen getting blood applied to his face. It's real, it's brutal, it's badass. The Raid 3 will unfortunately not be hitting cinemas for a few years, but you can bet your fist that when it does come out, I will be seeing it. I saw Raid 2 twice in cinemas, and it was money well spent. If it was still in theaters, I would see it one more time, no question. Now we come to 12 Years a Slave director Steve McQueen. I didn't fall in love with 12 Years a Slave personally, but Shame is one of the best, most thought-provoking films I've ever seen, and it features a performance by Michael Fassbender that, in my eyes, trumps what he did in Slave. His camera, be it still or in motion, more often than not captures entire scenes in one beautiful take. He is one of the great indie filmmakers working today, and I cannot wait for his next pick, whatever it may be. Coming up on the finish line, we have Martin Scorsese, who is a favorite of many cinephiles. Yes, it is pretty much expected that somebody like me would adore Scorsese, but I actually only love a few of his picks. Taxi Driver, Casino, Goodfellas, and The Departed are the ones that I am personally drawn to. The other ones are either good, not great, or just okay in my eyes. Then, of course, there's Wolf of Wall Street. Whenever I hear his name, what immediately comes to mind is that trucking shot in Goodfellas. It's ingrained in my brain, and I can only hope to, at some point in the future, direct a shot as spectacular. Here's to hoping. Now that I'm thinking about it, though, I'm betting you he would love to tee in that shot so that whenever a filmmaker used that in their movie, he'd get paid. He'd be filthy rich, as if he isn't already. And now we come to my favorite, Christopher Nolan. Every single day of my life since July 20th, 2008, this man has been my leading source of inspiration. He does not believe in 3D, but he does believe in IMAX, and he is a film purist. Even more inspiring. Some would call this path I am on in life stupid, idiotic, and unrealistic, among other things, and I do have moments of doubt myself, but whenever I need a reminder of why I am on this path, I need only pop in a movie of his, usually Inception or one of the Batman movies, and like that, I remember why instantly. His films are exciting and thought-provoking character pieces, and more often than not have mind-blowing visuals. They are also paced to perfection. He has collaborated with now ex-DP Wally Pfister on 7 of his films, started with Memento, and has had the same editor, Lee Smith, since Batman Begins. Their minds bonded together along with his wife and producer Emma Thompson, his production designer Nathan Crowley, and of course, Hans Zimmer, cannot forget that genius. The results have always been a movie that matters. I am fully aware that I may never reach his status level in life, and I may never get to direct a Batman movie for Warner Brothers, but in my eyes, as long as I can say at some point that I direct movies for a living, the journey will have been worth it. So, here's to dreaming, something Cobb from Inception knows all too much about. So, there you have it, my favorite directors list as of 2014. I am sure as time goes on the list will change, not sure how, but we'll just have to wait and see. Until then though, these men and Lena Dunham are my inspiration, day in, day out, and I love it. If you're up for sharing, let me know down below whose films you stay up late to watch, even if it's a school night, and you have a test. Don't worry, I won't tell. Thank you very much for your time. Have an awesome day.